How you guys doing? Demonologist, psychic medium, journalist, Nick Grossman, and want to get into some things with a little rant here. Light up a stove with me and let's have a chat about this. Okay, so check it out. You know, my little bit about my life story. I'm going to tell you guys this. From Norwalk, Connecticut. When I was growing up, it was definitely a dangerous place. Back in the 80s and 90s. You know, back in middle school there, you know, I got robbed a few times. So, you know, I got revenge and I robbed the other guys' friends. There was gangs in the middle school. I robbed a few of those guys and then they got revenge on me and we all got in trouble. Some got arrested. It was my first when I started really breaking like into this crime spree that I did, because this is back a long time ago, people. Brace, just buckle up because this is going to get interesting. But basically, you know, I grew up seeing punk rockers with big mohawks. I can't do a big mohawk. I'm 45 and, you know, I do the best I can with what I got. But maybe I'll try to get it up there. Big ones, you know what I mean? I used to see that. I used to see all sorts of these punks wearing these crazy colors and all sorts of shit when I was a kid skating around. I remember I was driving on I-95. Well, my dad and my mom were driving. My dad was driving on 95. We were going out to dinner and at an American steakhouse. I looked to my right, and there's two punks on their old school skateboards sketching on the back of a car. Now, that was insane on I-95. So, I was fascinated by them, and I love seeing them in the movies like RoboCop and Jason Does Manhattan. I always loved seeing them because the punks were so cool. Crocodile Dundee, right? I related to them. I don't know what it is, but I always was drawn to that, right? You know, I got into, I was trouble in school. I was in the classroom with the, you know, the bad kids and all that stuff. In and out, the principal, oh my God, he couldn't stand me. I was like there, like dual weekly or more in his office, and he couldn't understand. You know, I just liked getting into trouble. I don't know what it was. It was weird. I could never explain it. Why? So yeah, I mean, I got into some trouble back in Norwalk, where, you know, put the guy at the store. I was doing something I shouldn't have been in the store looking at, you know, a stupid kid. Let me break this down, okay? We are talking about 1994 or 95. We had a group called GWSP, and it stood for Guineas Who Sold Porn. Okay? And we were freshman year in high school, and what we would do, because back then you could just literally walk in and buy it, what we would do, and they didn't care, you could buy cigarettes too, they sold it to youngsters and everything. So what we would do is we would buy porn, and then we would sell it to all the people in school, and we made money doing it. guineas who sell porn. You know, we lost it all in a basketball game, our whole stock. But that's how that started. But anyway, I was trying to get magazines to sell. You know, I'm the streets, man. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm from the streets, man. You know what I'm saying? This is back in the day, G. Not me. Go on the scene. So yeah, I was looking at, you know, and the guy got mad behind the counter and said, "Get out, get out, get out now!" And he drop kicked me like this, out, like that. Took my skateboard, locked me out of the store. Now I'm pissed because you never take a skater's board. Oh, you never do that. So what I did was I was trying to break the glass and trying to break into the store to get my skateboard. And the police saw me do it. I was about 14 or 15. Didn't get in trouble though. I just got lectured by the police. You know, I got in trouble by my parents, but I just got lectured by the police. But I really, really did like the trouble. You know, I've been urban exploring, and that's another thing. You know, you're looking at an OG urban explorer, because I'm a Gen Xer, and we did, that was our backyard, abandoned buildings, okay? And I'm not saying backyard, I mean, we played in abandoned buildings. We had fun in abandoned buildings. You know, that was our playground back then. That was Generation X. So, you know, I've been exploring for quite some time. You know, fast forward to, you know, mid-freshman year, my cousin Mike is listening to this new style of music. No, I loved Michael Jackson and all that stuff, and I liked rap and all that stuff, you know. I liked, you know, all the pop music back in the day, you know, heavy metal, you know, but the pop stuff, because I had no clue about anything else. He shows me the album cover of a band, Rancid, and it says Rancid, Let's Go. And it shows the dude with the mohawk, Tim Armstrong, flipping the bird with the other fellows by his side. And I'm like, no way. These are the guys that I see all the time, you know. Of course he put it in the CD player. And I related to the music so much. Now, let me tell you something. I got to tell you something. That Tim Armstrong is a thug, or he's a thug. That guy's street life right there. If you listen to the lyrics, I mean, you guys always say that he's not into politics and he doesn't sing about it, but let me tell you something, man. That dude has lived a thug lifestyle, and he's lived above the law, and he's lived outside of the outskirts, and you could hear it in his lyrics. He's completely punk rock, didn't give a fuck. And look, that was basically my handbook, that one and the self-titled album. The other couple albums were decent when they came out, but it was really those two albums that were my handbook. Of course I used it, I loved it, because, you know, they were talking streets, you know. I'm from the streets, you know. I'm from a middle-class neighborhood, but right, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm from Norwalk, you know, we all together, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm in New Haven, I mean. Let's light it up again. I listened to this music. Loved it. You know, I got into some trouble back in 1996 for breaking an entry into a drug dealer's house, and we were trying to find the stash. We couldn't find anything. And they were going to pick their kid up at school. And, you know, we heard there was a stash in there, obviously, and we got in there and We got arrested for that. Had to go to juvie for a short period of time in Bridgeport called Mead Hall. And I remember when I went to Mead Hall and I saw like 5 different kids from school, 5 different troublemakers that were my friends. And I'm like, wait, you guys have been here this whole time? I remember that. And the food was actually good, But that was the journey. Didn't stop from there, though. I got little into the punk scene. I went to a few shows. They were cool, but to be honest with you, I don't really feel like anybody was living. Not many people didn't seem to have that outlaw type of thing, just the fashion. And so I went to a few shows from time to time, but I'm sorry, man. I'm going to hang out with my brothers down at West Main, Norwalk. You know exactly who I'm talking about. I got they're back to the end. Period. I'm going to hang out with my brothers there. I had a car, and I drove a certain person and certain people around to run errands. So I got into the hood. I was like really, really into that because that was Tim Armstrong. I wasn't really finding it at the shows. I was finding it back in the streets where I'm from. You know what I mean? So I was finding it back there, wild West Main Street, Norwalk, not to be confused with West Ave. So they know who you guys are. I got you. Stayed arrest free for about 4 years, and was driving around with a girl that used to be my girlfriend at the time, and I was teaching her how to drive, but I was drinking in the passenger seat. I was drinking bottles of beer. I had about a 12 case of beer, I believe. And I was doing that, and I was smoking, weed, this, that, all sorts of stuff. I just went all out. Completely lost my mind. Went from Fairfield, Connecticut, all the way to Newtown, Connecticut, not even sure how that happened. And bumblefuck, So we're driving around at nighttime, and this guy, she must have cut him off or something because he had road rage. And I yelled at him, obviously, because I was drunk or something. I'm not going to get into it, but I was throwing things. Okay, this is unfiltered, and listen, I'm a spiritual guy, and I'm a very kind guy. But when I talk about demonology, and when I talk about this stuff, a dark side of me you will see. You will see that side of me when I talk about this stuff. So if this does bother you, my streetness, I'm sorry about that. That's just how it is when I talk about this stuff. So, we get lost, and this guy is tailgating and everything, and I'm drinking beer bottles, and I don't even want to say what I did, but I did. I pissed the guy off. We come to a baseball field, and I said to the girl at the time, I was like, go into this parking lot over there, because I'm going to kill the guy. I was ready to kill him. He was trying to ram us off the road and everything else. I'm a trained martial artist, okay? Well, not in training at the moment. Been quite some time, as you know, but I know some things or two. Especially back then, I was a trained. Back then, very trained. Was going to kill the guy, no problem. If he got out of the car, was waiting for him to get out of the car and come face to face. Like a jackass, I run up to his car and he runs me over full throttle with his Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I flew over the car. Luckily, I went over the car and didn't go under the car. Okay. It seemed like it was slow motion, and my vision turned red when I got hit by the car. I remember my vision had this slight tint, and the guy drives off, or the girl, I don't know who, didn't see. But if you're watching this, I have no hard feelings towards you. We were both fucking out there that night, okay? The driver. I would love to know who you are, though. And I swear I will not get a lawyer, but I would love to talk about this. This is the Danbury area. No hard feelings. We were both crazy that night. Danbury area. This was back in I don't know, 1999, 2000, 2001, I forget. And I'm sorry if I started something with you, but I just want to tell you, if you are the person who hit me with the car, I don't care. I would love to meet you and shoot the shit with you. Why not? And talk about the story, really. But anyway, guy drives off, girl drives off. My shoe comes flying down because it got hit so hard that my shoe flew off of me from the whiplash. And, I started throwing up. And, I didn't feel that I had broken ribs and nerve damage and all this stuff. I didn't feel it yet. And spinal and whatever. I didn't feel it. So, the guy tried to murder me. I'm feeling invincible at this point, I really am. The adrenaline is going. So we drive a little further, and we drive to a gas station, and I walk in and I say, could you call me an ambulance? Because back in this time, I don't know if her cell phone was dead, and I did not have a cell phone at that time. I always lived off the grid, kind of, with that. And we went in to the gas station, and they called an ambulance, took me to Danbury Hospital, and I just felt like invincible. And my family drove up from Norwalk to Danbury Hospital because they found out, I told them what happened. I don't know what got into me, but I said to my brother, watch this, and I pulled a cigarette out. And I lit it and was smoking it in the emergency room, in the emergency space. Called the security on me. And I just went out in a blaze of glory on them. And I didn't hurt them, but I showed them that, I have training, and literally I could, restrain or throw them across the room. Showed them who's boss. Called the state troopers on me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go at them. So they called them, and I'm waiting in my emergency room cot, sitting there. Everybody had to leave the room and evacuated the room. That's what the security said, and left me there by myself, and they were waiting outside. I don't know how reality kicked in, but when I saw the state trooper, I knew I was screwed. And I was like, okay, this fucking jamboree is over with, And, I got arrested for that. And I had to sign a list of being banned from Danbury Hospital. They have the right to refuse me now if I'm having a stroke or anything like that. or a heart attack. They have the right. They probably won't, though. They probably won't. But technically, legally, they do have the right. That was one of the crazier stories. I always had magic on my side. Yet I got away with a lot of crimes. Okay? Because I always had magic on my side. Oh, whenever I got arrested, I actually liked going to court just to see the reaction of the prosecutors and the judges, that they're being controlled and manipulated by my magic and my friends who are spirits doing it for me. And I thought it was the greatest thing, seeing, the judge and the prosecutors and everybody else. They couldn't, pretty much everything just went my way in that courtroom every single time I got arrested. So, it was very, very, very hard to have a psychic medium gift. The only way I could describe this is the torture I was going through psychologically and supernaturally. As a Sagittarius, from 1995 to 2008, we were stuck in some kind of crappy planet alignment. The shit hit the fan if you were a Sagittarius from 1995 to 2008. And guess what? It went into Pluto. First it was in Uranus, and then it went into Pluto. And the shit hit the fan again until 2025. So, I'm very, very happy to know that whole thing is over. But, this is my training ground, and, I guess it was my way of expressing what was going on and finding an outlet to what was going on and all the spirits that I was seeing all the time. I was seeing so many spirits that I decided to start studying. Well, I didn't decide. I naturally got into studying them. I naturally started understanding these spirits. I'm telling you this story because I'm going to get into my whole life story about this whole thing. Just like my book, American Occultists Above the Law. I'm going to get into it. Certain stories on that book are changed around for my protection. Okay? Certain stories are changed, and their certain names are changed and everything else for my protection. But we're going to be going over the rawness on Exorcism Unfiltered, because my life story has a lot to do with who I am today. So anyway, yeah, it was like an outlet. And you know what? Eventually, when I started studying supernatural and actually demon hunting and ghost hunting, that replaced that outlet. And that's why these crimes are so important to my story, because the paranormal replaced that adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm telling you these crimes. I'm going to tell it's unfiltered. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into all sorts of things. Life of a Demon Hunter, Nick Grossman. Join me next time, and we'll light up another bogey. Until then, check it out.